Thanks for clicking on Wayne.com for Inside the Zone. He's Justin Kenny of the News Sentinel. I'm Glenn Marini, and it is Week 9, final week of the regular season. Hard to believe that it's already here. It seems like it's gone by really fast. We're going to talk about key matchups in the SAC and NHC this week because titles are still up for grabs in those conferences. But first off, I want you to kind of break down the SAC because it's a unique conference in that they generally don't share conference titles, but the scenarios are a little bit nutty.
Yeah, usually we have tiebreakers, but if they finish in a three-way tie, as could happen this week with the games, they would share it. They would share a three-way because they do head-to-head, and all of them would have, Snider, Wayne, and Lures would all have one-on-one records against each other. So in that respect, they would just all share it. I don't know if the bell goes to Wayne. Usually, sometimes they do it where the team that hasn't had it the longest, and Wayne hasn't had it since '93, would get it, or they would split it three ways, and each team gets it 3 weeks. So it's kind of a unique situation because we look at the SAC as the only league around here that does break ties, but it could have a three-way tie after Friday.
Yeah, it seems very weird just to think that there could be a three-way champion in the SAC, but that could very well be the case. It really all comes down to, for the most part, the Snider-Wayne game. Snider certainly in control of its own destiny, undefeated in conference, Wayne with just one loss. What do you see as being the big keys Friday night in Waynedale?
Probably which defense plays better, in my opinion. Neither team has really been tested in the last month or so. Wayne, we've talked a lot about their defense recently and playing better, but they've played three, in my opinion, anemic offenses right now in the season in Dwenger, Southside, and Northrop over the last 3 weeks. So is it a matter where the Wayne defense has improved, or is it just the quality of competition? So that's something that's going to be answered on Friday.
Well, one thing Scott Shaw has alluded to throughout the season is that defense, because the offense scores so much, the Wayne defense doesn't get a long time to rest. I know this is kind of a wild theory, but Snider has the area's best defense, specifically in terms of Jesse Bates and leadership and what they've been able to do. Does the fact that Snider can maybe slow down Wayne's offense and make them grind out a drive or two as opposed to a three-play, 70-yard drive that Wayne is used to, does that maybe work in Wayne's favor to a certain degree because their defense isn't going to be on the field just like that after every offensive possession?
Wild theories, Kirk.
That's what I'm known for.
Outside the box. It could be. It comes down to the fact that Wayne has about 20 guys that go both ways of their 22. And regardless of what side of the field they're playing, they're going to be on the field a lot. But you make a good point. Snider will probably be able to slow that offense down a little bit. You mentioned Jesse Bates has been phenomenal this year. They get Alex Reese back, had a couple fumble returns for touchdowns last week. So it is a defense that I think on paper matches up well with Wayne, but we've seen defenses this year that we think can match up and slow down Wayne a little bit that haven't been able to. So we're going to see.
Chris Schwarzkopf made an interesting point in practice last week. He said he was looking specifically at the tape at Snider's offensive line. He said this may be the best technical line that he's seen in high school football in some time. If you're the Wayne Generals, obviously you've got Austin Robertson up front, you've got talent up front, but how do you combat an offensive line that works so well as a unit?
It's really tough. I think, when you have opportunities to get penetration, get in the backfield, you have to capitalize on those opportunities. No missed tackles, stuff like that. Don't allow guys get open, in space, maybe on the outside. I mean, you're going to have to play really good fundamental football. I don't see Wayne winning the battle up front on the defensive and offensive lines with Snider's offensive line. But if they can minimize the damage up front and then take advantage of their speed on the outside, not allow Snider to get in space, turn the corner, stuff like that, can kind of negate that advantage.
I've got another crazy theory.
Bring it. Let's go.
I'm like Mel Gibson, right? I'm coming up with my crazy theories. Offensively, Snider didn't have to do a whole lot last week because you're talking about 4 possessions where they scored a touchdown and the offense wasn't even on the field. When I'm talking about special teams and defensive touchdowns and a punt return, it was beautiful by Jesse Bates. So the offense is probably primed and ready to get more than 3, 4, 5 offensive possessions, and they're well rested. How much would that play into this game? Because we know that Snider wants to grind the football, run it with Money Woods, DeAndre Billingsley, even Stiebling can run it a little bit as well. The fact that they're rested up, is that more dangerous for a team like Wayne to guard defensively?
I think it could be, potentially, especially early in the game. And maybe even late with the fresher legs that Snider will likely have. But, Wayne is kind of they're the underdog going into this game. They know it. They've been playing the underdog role all year. Sometimes you kind of, pigeonhole that in there, but, they're going to feel like underdogs going into Friday night. And I think that's going to play a lot into it. they haven't had an SAC title in 21 years. That's huge. We saw a team in Northside last year really kind of have that chip on their shoulder and lead them to an SAC crown. So, Wayne's got a definite shot. It's tough to see how they match up and they can win this game, head to head on Friday, but the intangibles, I think, are in Wayne's favor.
If you had to pick a score, what would it be?
I'm going to go Snider by 9. I don't think double digits, but I also don't think very close either. I'm going to just take Snider. I think they wear them down later in the game and kind of maybe get it's a close game within a touchdown. I think they had some points late to kind of distance themselves from the general.
I was going to say 35-28 Snider. That's kind of where I'm thinking. That may be too many points, but then again, we saw Lures Wayne, and everyone would have taken the under if you said like 125 points was where the line was at.